Welcome back to the Ed Show. Some members of Congress are demanding more transparency from the Federal Reserve. It's about time. Yesterday, the House Financial Services Committee approved an amendment that would allow the Government Accountability Office to conduct independent audits of the Fed. One of the authors of the amendment, Congressman Grayson from Florida, joins us here tonight on the Ed Show. Congressman, good to have you with us. What is the Fed doing wrong, in your opinion? Why do we have to have an audit of the Fed?
Secret bailouts. It's that simple. They've been taking hundreds of billions of dollars of our money and handing it over to failed Wall Street firms to try to keep them afloat, and doing it secretly. So now we're going to have an audit and find out exactly what's happened.
All right. Now, the secret money that you're talking about, give us some examples for people who are just in onto this stuff. What do you think?
Well, Ed, they're secret, okay? But we did find out about one of them. It's $230 billion that they took off of Citibank's books and accepted the liability, while Citibank kept all the upside, all the income from the $230 billion in assets, and they just made it disappear. They didn't even put it on the Fed's own balance sheet. And they did that in exchange for nothing. They got no stock from Citibank, no warrants, no nothing. So they just gave the taxpayers a $230 billion hit in exchange for nothing.
Okay, so number one, we need a law on the books, so that can't be done again, because if you and I were to do that with our taxes, we'd be behind bars where we'd belong on that. But there's an amazing amount of pushback on this. This is Fed Chairman Ben Bernanke giving his thoughts on the whole thing of an audit. Here it is.
If the GAO is auditing not only the operational aspects of our programs and the details of the programs, but is making judgments about our policy decisions, that would effectively be a takeover of monetary policy by the Congress, a repudiation of the independence of the Federal Reserve, which would be highly destructive to the stability of the financial system, the dollar, and our national economic situation.
He's worried about the dollar. Hell, I didn't know the dollar could get any lower against the Chinese currency.
Well,
but
Ed,
what do you make of this?
Chicken Little says the sky is falling, too. It's interesting that somebody who tries so hard to keep confidence up concerning the American economy is so desperate to destroy confidence when it comes to showing exactly what he's been up to.
Where's the roadblock to this going through? You got a lot of votes. You got a lot of people, 300 people on board in the House. Where's the big roadblock here?
Well, we have to worry about what the Senate's going to do, but honestly, if out of the 435 members of the House, we've got 311 co-sponsors, and by the way, I spent weeks going around the floor of the House when we were voting on other things, signing people up for this bill, and I spoke to every Democrat who voted for this yesterday personally and explained the bill to them. If we've got that kind of support, it shows that Bernanke's got nothing, and it's time we looked behind the curtain and saw what was there. It's that simple.
Congressman Grayson, you're a very successful businessman before you went into the Congress. What do we have to do to turn this economy around, in your opinion? What has to be done? What fundamentals have to be put in place? And how fast do we have to do it?
Well, it goes back to what you were saying today. I heard you on the radio at 3 o'clock today, and you're absolutely right. We have to stop giving money to the bad banks. They just eat it. They don't actually hand it out to people or do anything useful with it. We have to give money to the good banks. The fundamental strategy that's been followed since the Bush administration to try to recover from this is flawed. I mean, you don't give scholarships only to the students who fail, who flunk out. So why are we giving all this money that's government money and taxpayer money to all these failed banks? We have to give them to the good banks, because the good banks will go and make good loans to people, to businesses, to small businesses in particular, and the economy will recover.
It seems now that the Democrats are going to have to engage in a war of words to get the opinion of the American people straightened out, because a CNN research poll right now says the responsibility for the recession is starting to shift. There are the numbers from the Republicans over to the Democrats. Your thoughts on this?
Look, even a dog knows when it's being kicked. The American people can remember very much what it was like under the Bush administration, with $4 a gallon gasoline, an economy where we lost 20% of our entire national wealth in 18 months. Does anybody seriously think the Republicans are capable of doing any sort of economic management that's other than mismanagement at this point?
Let me get back to the economics of the whole thing again. Congressman DeFazio on this program earlier this week said he thought that Tim Geithner should step down, should leave that post, and Barack Obama, the president, should get somebody else in there. Do you agree with that, or is that a bridge too far?
Listen, what's important is not people, it's policies. We have to pick the right policies, and that means the president who's actually making these decisions has to assert himself. He has to make sure that ordinary people get their bailouts. I've heard from so many people, where's my bailout? Wall Street's getting all this money, where's my bailout? And the answer is the president has to focus on what's good for ordinary people. It doesn't matter if Geithner's in there or anybody else. The decisions have to be the right ones.
Congressman Grayson, good to have you with us tonight.
Thanks
you, Ed.
so much. And by the way, you were smoking on the radio today. You were smoking.
Well, look, I'm passionate, and I appreciate that. I'm glad you're listening, by the way. I'm passionate about the fact because I know I'm correct. There's a different set of rules for small community banks as opposed to the big boys on Wall Street. This is not brain surgery. You don't have to go to the highest institution of academic prowess in this country to make sure that we get the economy going. You get money to people that want to spend it, and you loosen the credit markets, and you're going to be able to create jobs in this country. And I don't see Geithner doing any of that. Congressman Grayson, great to have you on. Appreciate it so much.
Thank you, Ed.
Coming up, more proof that crazy like a Fox News